Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnana Murtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Lakshyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adoration to Sadguru is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha, Upashama Prakarana, and sections that we are going to deal with are 88 and 89. The topic is Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti. Literal meaning is liberation in life and disembodied liberation. The body is not there. So once a person is liberated, after death he is also liberated. But we can't see him around. His body is not there. But that's the ordinary meaning. Subtle meaning will find that whether you are, even while you are in your body, you become absolutely bodiless in your understanding, in your inner experience. Therefore, King Janaka was called Videha. He didn't wait to die to become Videha. And once you are Videha, the question of after death, of course, it's a simple point to understand. Nobody will be staying with the body. The body will drop. So all that your mind is directed towards is a worldly event, dropping of the body. But that is not the real definition of Videha Mukti. Sage Vasishtha continued, O Rama, having attained Videha Mukti, Sage Vithavya became calm like an ocean. See, even in this description, he doesn't say having attained Videha Mukti, now he's finished. No, something goes on still. Became calm like an ocean without waves. That is, the internal state of experience is being presented to you. Outer experience, if his hair is turning grey, it will become greyer. Joking. But it is not a joke. It's a reality. Outer world will follow the simple laws of the body. Body will age and will ultimately die. But for gaining an insight in Videha Mukti, that's where your focus should be. Even while you are living with the body, you attain Jivan Mukti and you rise to a state of Videha Mukti. He left his body of flesh and blood aside to wither like a dead lotus. Again, it's not a literal, it's allegorical. He became so detached that as if his body is just completely ignored, but still looks like a lotus. And it eventually merged into the earth element. Through this allegorical episode, you are being given the picture of Laya Chintan. Laya Chintan means first to start studying. Who am I? Your attention goes to the body. But that body relates to earth element. And you let go the body, dissolve in earth element. Now the body has been viewed to be negated. What gives vitality to the body? Pranas. Pranas, if you study the evolution of all the elements from Brahman, pranas resolve into subtle elements. His intellect, mind and senses all merged in cosmic mind, which in turn merged in Brahman. All the details of the sequence, that's not important at all. Simply to understand that your body, put it more in a straight way, your body merges into prana. Prana in its, here prana is only that aspect of vitality that keeps your body alive. So we are not giving further details about prana. When you have come to body, prana, now we are coming to deeper intellect, mind and senses. This is the whole mental process. That mental process merges in cosmic mind. What was already told to you in Ob Upasana. And which in turn merged in Brahman. So ultimately we are seeing every aspect of your personality. The effect goes into the cause. That cause is an effect of another cause. That cause is an effect of another cause. You go into dissolving the effect into cause. And ultimately, Param Karan, supreme cause is Brahman. So, this is a whole sadhana. Instead of Om Upasana, you are doing Laya Chintan. Thus he became liberated from the world process. This very world, which appears as a reality for the ignorant, was perceived by sage Vitahavya as a mental projection that we have again and again explained. World experience from beginning to end, from the state of bondage to the state of release, is seen in and through your Chitta. All this happening from bondage to release, the process of happening. Happening happens through Chitta-vrittis of the mind, thought waves. First you have the ordinary thought waves. Ultimate thought wave is Brahmakara Vritti. The intuitive function of the mind that focuses on Brahman as the only reality, nothing else. That becomes Brahmakara Vritti. So the whole role of mental function from the thought waves that are giving you reality of the practical world, Vishaya. And as mind undergoes deeper transformation, your thought waves become more illumined by sanmati, right type of understanding. You go further, your thought waves turn into intuitive function of the mind, which implies same lake that is trying to reflect the sun in its waves. Now the lake understands its ignorance. Understand the point. So becomes calm. Will not let the waves try to pick up the sun. When the waves all calm down, then there is a profound sun as if enters the lake. That's the description of Brahmakara Vritti. When you are trying to keep the world experience is through your thought waves of your mind. And they are countless. But they all come from your Chitta. The revelation of the truth. Now that requires allowing the Chitta to withdraw all thought waves. Serenity, silence, samadhi, absolute calm. In that state, your mental function is not a fragmented function of mind. The entire mind is in whole. All thought waves that arise from the mind and all the strength of the thought waves, they are all withdrawn. The ocean is, or lake is trying to get the sun with its complete picture. All this I'm saying to understand Brahmakara Vritti versus Vishayakara Vritti. Let me give you a simpler illustration. When you are dreaming, your mind is experiencing countless things in your dream. When you come to understand that it is a dream, not a reality. Now the same mind comes to discover that all that it is experiencing through these countless thought waves is illusion. When that becomes secure, or you simply wake up, all those little scattered thought waves are withdrawn. You didn't lose anything. Yes, if you can earn a lot of money in dream, you don't carry it anymore. This very word, which appears as a reality for the ignorant, was perceived by sage Vitavya as a mental projection. Here again, a very subtle topic, and people sometimes don't have clarity, they get confused. This Bhava Pratyaya, Pratyaya Bhava. Bhava Pratyaya illustration while you are dreaming. In dream you experience presence of things, absence of things, prosperity, adversity, calamity, virus. antivirus. But all your dream experience is kind of a projection on a screen. And your screen in that context is what you are on your bed. Nothing of that is real. Use the simile in a profounder way. All your waking experiences and all the story of karma from life to life, all that is in the realm of dream type of experience. That was called long dream, dirgha sapana. And Brahmakara Vritti begins to develop when we begin to understand that nothing of this world that is viewed in the terms of triad, seer, seen and sight. Subject, you are subject. The whole world around you, the world of objects. And what you are experiencing through your mind and senses, that's called sight. Seer, you are the subject. The world is seen. And what the interaction is sight. Seer, seen and sight. So as long as your experience is trapped in these three, it is the example of Bhava Pratyaya. Projection continues. You are not free of it. That's what means Bhava Pratyaya. Bhava is present. Pratyaya, projection. Pratyaya Bhava, projection no longer exists. Projection, Pratyaya plus Abhav. Absence, Pratyaya becomes absent. Projection is negated. Once projection is negated, just like you wake up from dream, you become spiritually awakened. That's called enlightenment. And nothing in this world is real. Negating all the world of triad, what is the absolute? That's Brahman. Brahman is the absolute truth. Reflect upon the manner in which the sage attained spiritual wisdom. All this having given to Rama, of course, being given to all people through the story of Vasishtha giving to Rama. Now Vasishtha tells Rama, reflect upon the manner in which the sage attained spiritual wisdom, the manner in which he destroyed the afflictions of attachment and hatred. He is giving the highlighted notes. In order to attain liberation, you must be free of kleshas, afflictions. Because mind that is afflicted will create lots of waves, lots of vrittis. And also it will not allow the soul to go beyond the illusion created by the vrittis. So the project is move away from kliṣhṭa-vrittis and try to create akliṣhṭa-vrittis. To give you again, ignorance, egoism, attachment, hatred, fear of death. Based on these 5 aspects, all the impressions that you gather, they are called kliṣhṭa-samskāras. impressions of the kleshas. Out of the kliṣhṭa-samskāras, vrittis arise. And out of the vrittis, your practical functions of the mind. Your desires take their shape. Your projects take their shape. You put your ducks together and conduct yourself accordingly. If kleshas are dominating, your conduct is full of afflictions. Even though it may seem very pleasant when you develop a lot of raga attachment, but you end up with terror, things that you have so much loved and attached. And suddenly, news, it is perishable, it's illusory, it's lost in one storm, in one forest fire, in one coronavirus. So when we say akliṣhṭa-samskāras, try to understand now. Instead of constantly keeping the mind filled with dread of death, that's what is happening. From morning till night, people are counting how many people have died and how many are going to die. All that you should, I'm not talking about, I'm talking totally different levels, do not misunderstand. All that is being done in news, etc., that's perfectly normal and commendable, practical. But I'm saying your psychological state of mind. Psychological state of mind is constantly filling with fear. Everybody you see, you are afraid. Start sneezing and you become afraid. You don't hear any news. Death and dying, you are afraid. You are left out. So that's called building up kliṣhṭa-samskāras. But even while all this goes on, people who are busy with satsanga and busy with their doing their duties in daily life with a Godward vision, they are promoting virtuous qualities in their personality. Instead of fear, fearlessness. And whenever you develop any quality, it has two aspects. It has be good and do good aspect. Any quality that you are developing, it has kind of a flower. Any flower that blossoms, a good flower, it has a fragrance. In other words, you are practicing non-violence. Or even fearlessness, beginning with, since fear I started at the beginning, you are developing fearlessness. Now, whenever you see any person coming under the pressure of fear, if you have real fearlessness being developed within, you will have an artistic movement to help the person to switch his attention from fear to inner strength. If you don't know it, then you receive a harassing experience. You complain to yourself of your misery. And the person says, You, wretched person. Thank God you don't have much more misery than that. I'm joking, but try to understand. People do that. So a person comes with sad face and goes with terrified face. And you consider as a great counselor. If that is setting, that's called you're building up kliṣhṭa-samskāras. The setting changes, you have a matri heart, friendly heart. And you view any person as if you are yourself in his shoes or in her shoes. And with that type of feeling, you look within yourself, how should you have handled it? Now try to bring that again, not in your case. You think of certain things very quick. Now in the case of the person with whom you are handling, if you have certain type of insight to correct a mistake, but you are facing a child that has made the mistake. Now you have to come down to the child's way. First, train your tongue to be stammering. I'm giving very detailed understanding. No matter how much good advice you have to give, that also requires art. Otherwise, say, oh, I don't care how he felt, but that's the right way to do it. So that I'm just giving the illustration of what creates kliṣhṭa-samskāras and what creates akliṣhṭa-samskāras. Same setup of things present both opportunities, and more in a popular way to understand, when you allow people to become relaxed, sad people to become joyous, people who are feeling weak, lack of confidence, you inspire them to have confidence. Even if you bring a little smile, a little relaxation in the face, a little touch of insight in one's brain, all these are acts that will give you akliṣhṭa-samskāras. And that I have akliṣhṭa-samskāras, now going to all these against fear. Akliṣhṭa-samskāras, if you are going into dvesha, always hating, and in all your talks you bring out the people whom you hate. And 1 hour of your feast is filled with gossips, each one gossiping as whom you hated. You are building up, you are giving satsanga for promotion of kliṣhṭa-samskāras. And similarly, when you come together and always talk about all your relatives whom you view them as cute, and now start bringing out your pictures. Look, this one was 1 year old, look how it looks. 2 year old, look. 1 tooth came out, look. You have nothing else. short version is okay, but just spending hours and hours, nothing but moha-based happiness. Then you are intensifying raga, attachment. That's kliṣhṭa-samskāras. Same thing when you are studying satsanga, etc., and you learn the power of being detached and how negative things calm down when you are handling them with detachment. And you begin to understand the glory of detachment. Then you are developing akliṣhṭa-samskāras. Understand the difference in kliṣhṭa-samskāra, akliṣhṭa-samskāra. That samskaras that give you vairagya. And similarly, samskaras that inflate your ego. Those samskaras are kliṣhṭa-samskāras. Samskaras you create that calms, humbles your ego. Same good things you have done. And when people praise you, internally you look, thank God that you allowed me to do good things. So, with every praise, you are becoming humbler. You are creating akliṣhṭa-samskāras. But with every praise, you become more full of vanity. Then you are creating kliṣhṭa-samskāras. Understand? Spiritual progress is reading in 4 pages, you can read the whole thing from bondage to release. And practice requires all these points. So I have explained about kliṣhṭa-akliṣhṭa. Now he practiced listening, reflection and meditation relating to the divine self. Shravan, manan, nididhyasan, sakshātkār. 4 stages of sadhana movement called Shravan-chatushtaya, beginning with listening. If you have not gone deep into these studies, then listening simply means you listen through your ears. You listen all types of things. But listening requires keeping your mind calm, not pressured by your prejudices. If you come to satsanga and you are listening, but holding on to your prejudiced view of things, and if you don't like what you are being told, your ears are listening. You may even repeat them what you listen, but you didn't listen. Because your prejudiced mind doesn't want to assimilate what you have listened. So understand, listening term doesn't mean simply what you are listening through your ears. And even if you are listening, it is not listening. Listening means with open mind, you are really trying to understand what a person is saying. And here, of course, in this context, you are listening the type of understanding that allows your soul to be spiritually elevated. So listening is followed by manana, reflection. In a gross illustration, we always give this illustration of a cow. First, the cow swallows up things. Then when the cow sits down, chews the cud. It brings out what it has gulped and chews it. It was very tasty. In Shavana stage, when we are listening to so many things, with open mind and receptive mind, listen all those points. But allow all those points to be assimilated. So whenever you have time, instead of keeping your mind completely busy with worldly things, develop a hobby of manana, reflecting upon what you have listened to, until there is complete clarity about what you have listened to. When complete clarity comes, that stage is meditation. Meditation is the Vedantic terminology, nididhyasan. Mind's attention becomes very spiritually profound. Dhyasan is attention. The mind comes to realize that this is the real truth. And just like you have taken food, you have chewed the cud, and you have assimilated it. Now, you come out with all the strength. That last stage is called sakshātkār. It was theory, now it has become your practice. It was theory, now it is your experience. So Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana end up with Jivan Mukti. And from Jivan Mukti state, there comes Videha Mukti. O Rama, in the case of Jivan Mukti, sage Vithabhya lived for a long time possessing a sorrowless mind. Now when your whole hobby becomes developing akliṣhṭa-vrittis, your mind no longer stays sunk in sorrow. I'm speaking sunk. Sorrows will be there, but you don't get sunk into it. Rains are there, but to save yourself with umbrella. All dirty things are there on the earth. You save yourself by your sandals. So similarly, Jivan Mukta is in a state of having umbrella and having shoes. So in spite of all the things that go on in the world, he remains sorrowless. The rain of sorrow goes on everywhere, but it's untouched by the rain. Though living in the world, he was unaffected by the currents of Raga and Dwesha. And this is the central purpose of spiritual scriptures. All people suffer from shochya, shok, sorrow, grief. In brief, that's what they're suffering. Grief. And end of grief. That's the goal. From shok to ashok. And just to give you simple understanding, the Gita begins with, when the Krishna starts teaching, the starter of the teaching starts with the term Ashotya Nanvashotyattvam. O Arjuna, you are grieving about things not worth grieving for. Go through 18 chapters. And in 18th chapter, the ending, Ma Shucha, do not grieve. You are grieving over things not worth grieving for. Wait half an hour. Listen to all teachings. Ma Shucha. That's the conclusion. Don't grieve. Sri Rama asked, O sage, please explain why sage Videha didn't develop psychic powers of various types. You must understand, Rama was not so done with that question and answers to bring out to the masses subtle insights. Because for general masses who become interested in yoga and all that, and they look for ashrams, and they hear the ashram teaches Vedanta, Shavana, Marana. No kundalini, no psychic power. No siddhis. So let's find that type of ashram. And you have to now understand if you are interested in psychic powers, etc., in the name of spiritual progress, you are going in a wrong direction. Because just 40, 50 years back, people were craving for the possibility to contact everywhere in the world, to know everything what is happening. They went to all the ashrams, worked hard. But now everybody has in the hand. You simply ask Shiri. All things are at your fingertips. We have so many siddhis that people couldn't have imagined. And they worked hard to get them. Years of work. But where are you? Still you are under virus problem. That's what Vasishtha explains. Now in his words, O Rama, those who are bent upon attaining self-realization are not interested in psychic powers. Compared to the glory of liberation, these powers are transient and insignificant. Birds fly through the air. See, yogis have to work very hard to have ability to conquer gravitational pull. And if they do that, it would be 5 inch. They want publicity all over the world. And birds do that so easily, even though the size is just this much. And fishes live in the water. But in spite of these siddhis, they are immersed in the world of misery. And those who develop these powers without the vision of enlightenment, you are developing certain powers and for spiritual progress in line with your spiritual movement. There will be always special abilities, special powers. As I have already explained, if you have ahimsa in your heart, you will change the people around you. Who are crude, they become wonderful. Your siddhis work miracles. Those siddhis are totally different. Sages possess siddhis, but those siddhis are not like this concept of technical powers. Whether he is a knower of Brahman or not, anyone can develop siddhis by taking a course through the practice of concentration, meditation and samadhi. Both samyama, mental concentration directed towards different objectives. You must understand, you don't have to go through a complete serious practice of concentration, meditation, samadhi. In every success, in business, in study, in whatever area you do, three things get involved. Mind has to be focused. Focused state must continue. That becomes first dharana, focusing, maintaining the focus, meditation, and then comes what you want to gain. And your effort becomes relaxed. That compares with samadhi. Since a knower of Brahman is not ruled by desires, he does not show any inclination to develop siddhis. If, however, it is ordained by cosmic will, he develops them for the sake of doing good to others. And with this we will conclude. No longer ordinary siddhis. Attain param siddhi. And that's called liberation. Om. Prayer for the shower of divine grace, karunamaya ras of God, to ease the burden of this terror created by virus that has produced a lot of kliṣhṭa-vrittis. And may a miracle of grace occur. Sabko sanmati de Bhagavan. May the glorious goal must shine before the eyes of people. Let the whole humanity's progress inspired by the goal of being free from mortality virus and attain immortality. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukmuva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.